You're listening to Next Legacy.
All right, this is Next Legacy Radio. I am Charles. I am Brandon. I am here with my guest. I had an opportunity to tap in and check this guy out and see what he's been up to, looking at his social media stuff, looking at his YouTube page, looking at all things, and became very intrigued. And I feel like not just the people out in the United States, but I feel like a lot of people out there across the country needs to get to know this man, see what this guy is all about. And I am happy to have my man live and direct. And before I even introduce this man and get him on, I definitely need everybody out there that's in full support of people doing really good things for a lot of things going on. I need y'all to really pay close attention. I have Chille EB, my guest right here on Next Legacy Radio. What's good?
Hey, what's good, Charles? Thanks for having me on, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Man, I appreciate you for taking the time and just, letting the listeners, the people out there know a little bit about you. So, without further ado, the people out, get to know someone, I think is super important. So I want to start off by telling, just give the people out there a little bit of a history about yourself and what you're up to and what you're doing.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Well, first of all, I want to say hello to all the listeners out there. And it's an honor and a privilege for me to be here sharing my life and my story and my travels with you all. A lot of people may remember me from back in the golden age of rap. I came to California to pursue the entertainment business at the behest of Mr. James Earl Jones's recommendation that I should pursue the arts. Prior to that, I'm a veteran of the Army. Was stationed out in Texas, and I was granted with a walk-on basketball scholarship. So I played a little bit of ball outside of college, right outside of Dallas. And in doing so, I was asked to play the character Nat Turner in a play that was written by a friend of mine. And I did not know at the time that James Earl Jones was going to be in town for a symposium, and that he had agreed to be front row to watch this presentation during Black History Month. And it was the characters were Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Crispus Attucks, and just so many black icons of that movement. And I was playing the part of Nat Turner, and Mr. Jones found me backstage. He came back to ask specifically for me, and he encouraged me basically to pursue the arts. He thought that there was something there for me. So I came to California the month later to pursue the arts in the form of music. So I got into the rap music thing, and I touched down in Antioch, California. And for those that are across the country may not know what that is, but we're probably about 25, 30 minutes from Berkeley, maybe 45 minutes from San Francisco in the Bay Area. So I touched down there and was able to get my feet wet on stage, opening for the legends of the West Coast, Egyptian Lover, Rodney and Joe Cooley, and Dr. Dre and the World Class Wrecking Crew. And then about 2 years later, Dr. Dre had revamped his persona, and they came out with Boys in the Hood, which later Boys in the Hood featuring Eazy-E, which later became NWA. So we opened for them, MC Hammer, Rodney and Joe Cooley. So started trying to find my niche, find out where I fit in and what my purpose is going to be in the music industry. I love people, and I've always wanted to forward that message of mankind and humanity and in us, helping, working with each other and surviving. And so that's always been my message, and it hasn't changed. I did play KMEL Summer Jam 93, and I was an honor and a privilege for me to play that show. But shortly after that show was when I threw the towel in, and I decided that I no longer wanted to participate or partake in the music industry, and just tried to resume a regular 9-to-5 job and a lifestyle, raising kids and so forth. And my kids, as they grew up, encouraged me to get back in the studio and pick up where I left off. So to make a long story shorter, in 2009, I recorded a new song and made a video and using this internet and technology that we didn't have in the 90s when I left the game, I decided to launch this video on my YouTube channel. And almost within a day or two, I was getting messages from all over the world and languages that I didn't even recognize. I had to literally, copy and paste in Google Translate to see what they were saying. And it was just overwhelming support. And as a result of that, I've been to 27 countries since 2010, and I was grinding it full time. I mean, that was my job, if you will. And that was, for the first time in my career, I could say I was honestly making a sustainable lifestyle and paying my bills and being able to eat off of just performing and making appearances and, my motivational speaking and so forth in countries all over the world. And so that's kind of where I'm at today. I took a 17-year hiatus from the industry, came back swinging hard. And, I'm just honored, man, and just really, really happy to just be here and to have my health and to be able to reach out to so many people that's trying to make a change in the world, because that's what we need. We need to make a change, man. And we need to make the world a better place. And that's kind of like my whole message, is make the world a better place. And if we all contributed to do that, I think everybody wins, nobody loses.
No doubt. Chille B is my guest on Next Legacy Radio, and just listening to what you're saying right now, I mean, you've had and continue to have a lot of history behind music and entertainment, so you've seen its evolution. And one of the things that kind of strikes me is, as music and entertainment and how people view it evolves. Not just it's taken YouTube to and the different types of people coming from different types of countries to kind of tap in and be a little bit more proactive and looking for a different source of entertainment. What was the reason during the course of your hiatus, aside from just, I'm going to put it down, I want to focus on the kids and the family and the 9 to 5, what was one of the sticking points that you had where it's like, you know what, I'm going to put this away for a while?
Well, one of the things was, being an independent artist, and kind of going against the grain. Everybody that knows me and anyone that knows my music know that my stuff is not from the harder edge of the music spectrum. And so I just felt like I was up against, competing in an industry against something that I had choices. I could have changed the sound and changed my message and be a facsimile of what was happening in the 90s to fit in, and just be that guy that it wasn't being real to myself and to fit in. But there's a lot of things that were happening. I felt like I wasn't getting the support that I wanted to see or give, and the people, and I didn't get the dedication from those that were on my team that were around me. I was 100% committed, and I figured that we all needed to be 100% committed in order to be successful. And at the time that I played Summer Jam, I had 2 boys at home that were literally 2 and 4 years old, and I was grinding out in the studio and trying to make my way so that I could provide a better future for my kids. And I felt like that it was a possibility that I could have invested so much time into that dream and not being a father to my kids, and someone had to do it. So I basically became a stay-at-home dad. That's what I did, and I basically was the guy that was taking on the daily roles that society stereotypically expects mothers to do. But I was that father taking my kids to school in line with the other mothers, my soccer van or football van, whatever you want to call it, with the soccer moms. I mean, we laughed and joked about that because I was one of very few fathers that had that responsibility at the schools that my kids went to. And that was the best job I ever had, was to be there for my kids. And they're all productive and citizens of society, great guys, and I cherish that moment, and I have no regrets for doing it. It's just that I just didn't want that expectation anymore of trying to be that Chille B and trying to be that upstanding guy in the community and the pressures of, leading by example. I mean, it's not much of a pressure because that's what I try to do every day. But it just became, I needed to decompress a little bit. I was putting too much time and energy into it, and I was forgetting to breathe and live, And so I had to step away. What I did, to be honest, I did step away longer than I expected. I thought I'd step away for a year and a half, and then jump back at it. But I was fortunate and lucky enough that around that transition time, some people will remember some of the commercials of the early '90s. Some of the Sega commercials for the game company. That was when they were crushing the market as far as platforms. And I was in quite a few of those TV commercials, and I was making good money doing that. So for me, it was a smooth transition to go from the music industry, where I was hit or miss on shows, and I'm sure I was going to all the high schools in the area, talking to the kids about, hopefully being that example of saying, stay in school and go for your dreams, and, stay away from elements of life that can get you in trouble, and be positive. That's what I was doing too in the late '80s. But I went from that to doing commercials. I was in commercials, did voiceover work on several commercials, including Nike and Sony and just a bunch of game companies, and it became a fun job for me that I never knew I'd be able to do. I mean, I did commercials that were on KMEL and 94.9, the rap commercials for some of the local businesses that turned out to be really cool commercials, and so
right.
I found my way transitioning from being that rap artist in the studio, trying to be on stage and trying to be that guy, to still working with music and working as an actor and still making a good, nice little paycheck for doing it. So it was kind of made sense to me to do, and I didn't feel like I had the stresses of that rap industry and, just all the stuff that came with it at the time, But like I said, the best thing I did was raise my kids, and my son, who's 32 now, and that guy was 18, he was the one that told me, "Dad, you were pretty good. I think you should get back in the studio. We appreciate you taking the time to be in our life and to be a father to us and look after us, but we don't need you to change our diapers anymore. You don't need to drive us to school and all that stuff anymore. It's time for you to get back and get back in the studio." And at that time, it sounded like a great idea, but with the emergence of the internet, I felt kind of lost. I was like, wow, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, there's so much has changed in that 17 or 18 years, so much has changed with the industry. So I just went back to my roots, man. I tried to remember what I did when I first got started, which was create a product. And, I did a song called Y'all Busted, which speaks to mothers and children, but it's basically confronting that medical field that needlessly and over prescribes these kids these medications for ADHD and so forth. And
right.
And I just wanted to kind of put that on the table because we learned that African American boys are 5 to 6 times more likely than their counterparts to be labeled mentally ill and to be drugged for the so-called ADHD. And my personal viewpoint, which is my personal viewpoint only, is that the normal behaviors that the kids are exhibiting that has been diagnosed and called a certain term of ADHD are nothing more than normal behaviors. Kids are trying to find their way in life, and everybody gets upset at some point. And it's just that when black kids get upset and act out, they're more than likely to be called crazy, or they got a mental health issue and being prescribed. And so my youngest son was misdiagnosed with ADHD, and we were given 5 medications to give to him. And the red flag went up to me, and I started investigating. I took him to see his pediatrician, and his pediatrician basically told me that my son is an adolescent, 15-year-old boy, that whatever he's going through, he will grow out of, and that he does not have ADHD, and that I should not fill that prescription to give him these drugs because all these drugs are horrible, and they will cause horrible side effects on my son. So without giving him any drugs, I just followed the advice of his pediatrician, and now he's 30 years old, and he's very he's a good guy. He's a parent. He's a father himself, and he's a productive citizen of society. And I'm just glad and lucky at the same time that I didn't drug him, And then I started feeling some kind of way about the parents that did, that lost their kids. And so I decided that I wanted to at least open up the floor for conversation and say, hey, do your research. This is what I found out. And so I did that song, Y'all Busted, basically to confront that issue, to hopefully cause a conversation, which it has been all over the world. This is a problem all over the world. That kids are being mislabeled and being misdiagnosed and given these strong drugs. And they found out, they did an expose, San Jose Mercury News did an expose several years ago that they said that over 70% of kids in foster care in California are being misdiagnosed and overdrugged, and that the health practitioners and the big pharma are giving out kickbacks, and people are receiving kickbacks for administering these drugs or suggesting these drugs to parents to give to the kids. And we as parents, we're willing to do whatever it takes for our kids to be healthy and safe. And sometimes we just don't know, and I'm glad that I was stubborn and that I was, went to get a second opinion. And the opinion that I received from my son's pediatrician was accurate and on point. And that's when I said, you know what, I need to at least mention this and tell my story so that other parents who are in my situation can find out the truth for themselves, And that's what led me, out the gates. And it's just been a wonderful experience, man. It's been a wonderful experience.
Man, I'm listening to you talking, and as I'm listening, I'm thinking, and I'm like, we live in this society, and Chille Bill is my guest on Next Legacy Radio. We live in this society where, my opinion, I feel like you don't need to believe any and everybody. You need to do your research as you put forth, because a lot of people are willing to just dive in. Let me just go ahead and do that. Let me do that with my health. Let me do that with my business ventures. Let me do that with my life. And let me do that with my relationships. Let me just go all in, right? And I'm listening to you talk, and I appreciate the fact that, do your research. You don't have to believe me. Just go do your research, figure out what you need to figure out, and bring yourself to your own conclusion. And I think that's how we got to go about life anyways, right?
Yes, I agree. And, I tell people, it's like when I do those songs, my songs are all across the board. I'm a human rights activist, and my stuff is either on race relations. Hey, I'm addressing racism in some of my stuff. I'm addressing certain isms. You know what I mean? But when it comes to the kids, I'm saying let kids be kids, man. I love kids. Kids are our future. They are the ones that we have to pass that torch to them at some point. And I'm hopeful that we as adults will leave this planet in better shape when we leave than it was when we arrived here. Let these kids inherit something that they could work with. They shouldn't inherit a big ball of mess. Like right now we're going through a big ball of mess, and I'm doing what I can with the as a liaison and with the other my other the partners in different organizations that I work with is to make the world a better place, because that's what the world needs right now. And we've lost compassion. A lot of people have lost hope. There's a lot of desperation going on out there, man, and it's just really crazy out there. And I just say that I stick to my laurels and just say, I'm just going to still be that good person. I'm from North Carolina, so I'm a country boy. In heart, that North Carolina is always home, although Chali has been my home for 35 years, and I love Chali. Right. Chali's been good to me. But I'm just saying is that problem that we have here is the same problem they have there. It's the same problem. I've been to Taiwan. I've been to Tokyo. I've been all over Europe. That problem exists everywhere, man. Our kids are supposed to be loved, and we're supposed to nurture these kids, and we're supposed to keep the road open for these kids so that they can have an opportunity to grow and be productive, because they're going to be our next leaders. They're going to be our next policymakers and so on and so forth. So rather than drug them into a stupor, I'm saying let's give them an opportunity, And I tell people when I do my stuff or when I speak, I get people that believe contrary to what I'm saying. I say, I don't want you to believe me. In fact, I want you to disbelieve me, because I want you to go and do your own research and come to your conclusion. I'm not doing this for political points. I'm not doing my music for a population contest. I want people to love me and all this. No, I'm just doing it because that's my calling. That's what I'm put here on this planet to do. That's what God gave me that gift to do. And if I could provoke a person or invoke a person or encourage a person to think and point in the right direction and say, look, you don't have to believe me. In fact, I don't want you to believe me. I want you to research it and find out for yourself, because that's what I did. I didn't believe what I was told, and I researched it. And I'm glad I did, because I've been at dinners, man, with parents who lost their only son, who committed suicide 10 days after taking one of these strong psychotropic drugs. And it does different things to kids. It's amphetamine, methamphetamine, or amphetamine-based drugs. And sometimes it causes aggression. It causes suicidal ideologies. It causes a lot of things that when you hear these kids shooting up these schools and stuff, man, and you wonder why he did it or how that happened, if you look back, there's a common denominator tied to almost every one of these mass school shootings. When kids kill kids, that's not normal. It's not a normal thing for kids to kill kids. So when you see that happen and you look back and you go all the way back, there's one common denominator that in my research, every one of these mass shootings had, and that was they were on or taking one of these strong psychotropic drugs.
Straight up.
And, so that's kind of like, just, it's been my dad. That's a little heavy. Music is, sometimes music is heavy. Sometimes music can make you shed a tear. Sometimes music can make you love somebody. You know what I mean? And that's the great thing about music. And that's why I use rap the way I do, because rap is the most influential art form of our times, bar none. And,
it's funny that you're mentioning. It's funny that you're mentioning this because, I've talked to a lot of people, not just adults, but kids, in terms of, what inspires you, what makes you want to do what you do. And you said something very important as well, because I shared this with, I think I was on social media when I was talking about it. I think Kanye West put something out there where, people use certain, styles of beats, 808s or whatever it is that makes certain people feel a certain way. A lot of people tend to forget that music can be an emotional tie to a lot of things. You said it. It makes you cry, it makes you laugh, it makes you sad, it inspires you, it makes you feel enraged, whatever it is that you feel at that particular time. But people tend to shrug that off, I guess, in a lot of sense. And people don't tend to really pinpoint certain things when it comes to emotional attachment to music, right? I think people do understand it, but I don't think they understand it to a certain degree, though.
I agree. And some people just don't know. Some people don't, they're kind of oblivious to it. They just listen to the beat. They listen to that wow factor of whatever the beat is, whatever. They listen to the, the aesthetics of the music, the bass line or something that sounds great about it, but they don't listen to, they're not really feeling that whole tone and the tone of the music, and everything is on vibrations and tones. And with music, there was a social experiment. It wasn't a purpose. It wasn't on purpose. I think it was an accidental, but I call it a social experiment because when I was new here in Cali, was at a part like a little house. It was a get together. It wasn't really a party. It was a little get together. Grown ups and doing their thing, and I happened to be there. And in the background, there happened to be some music playing, and I didn't know anybody at this party except for the person that I went there with, and everybody else. It was probably about 20 people there. And they're having the drinks or whatnot, and, rolling the dice, playing bones and stuff like that. And the music in the background was just ambiance. It wasn't like they had a DJ with the booming speakers. It was just like somebody had on a little music in the back for the ambiance. And I noticed that when the songs that were playing, they were like the R&B, the soul stuff. It was like the whole tone level of the songs. It was like a little bit of sweetness to it. This is just good music that was playing. People were laughing, and I was sitting around. I don't know if I was tripping or what, but I was just kind of sitting around, just checking out the vibe, like checking out everybody and listening and watching and observing. And I noticed that the conversation was on conversation A. We'll call it conversation A. Then as it got more, the music became a little bit more radical in the sense that, it was a little bit more aggressive. The rap stuff came in, and it was a little bit more aggressive. And I don't blame rap for other people's problems. I'm just saying is that music is medicine to the mind. That's one of the things that I tell people. Music is medicine to the mind. And that's one of my slogans. And I noticed that when the music changed, the music became more upbeat, more like, well, the beats were like just the hard beats were coming in, and the lyrical content of the songs were a lot stronger. I mean, a lot stronger than what we were listening to earlier. And the conversation in the room, the people, their conversation went to, dude remembers when he got into a fight in the house, this dude got bashed upside the head. Somebody remember, it was like they started remembering like all, and they started talking in this conversation. So I don't know anybody at the party, but I stopped. I said, hey, I just noticed something. I was like, what? And I was like, I noticed that when a certain type of music was playing, we'll call it, the Keith Sweats or the whatever, those type of songs were playing. Conversation was like really mellow, and it was like everybody was just like vibing on each other. And then when it changed, when the tone of the music changed, and it became more that was just like more drive and beats or whatever, and the content of the commentary was like a lot more aggressive, people started talking more aggressively and faster. And I just noticed that, man. People probably think that I'm strange or I'm weird, but I listen. I love talking to people. I love talking, but I'm a good listener. Sometimes I just listen and observe. And that day I was just observing. And that was when I realized the power of music. It's like music is super powerful. You throw on some jazz or some reggae or just something with a nice, or some just instrumental music when you're doing housework or doing something like that. Hey, if you're feeling like you want to get crunk, you're going to throw on something with some beats. It's going to make you dance. You're going to walk through the house. You're going to be dancing with the broom, whatever it is. So the music kind of sets the mood, and that's why I love what DJs do. And all my friends, well, not all my friends, but before I got in as an MC, got on the mic, how I got on the mic was I used to hang out in the clubs, especially at the NCO clubs on bass, and all the homies that we hung out, they were DJs. And I saw the DJ controlling the room of 400, 500 people just by the music that he plays. And the great DJs know how to put on that right music to kind of get the crowd go, get the night going. Then they crank it up, that tempo up to 108, 109, 110. They got the dance floor jumping. After that, they slow it down, let people get close, and get to whisper in the girl's ear on the slow jams. Then they kick it back up. And I watched them do this night in and night out. And that's what I said, man, music is powerful. And it's just how are we going to use the music? And how are we going to make an impact using music? And that's kind of what I've been trying to figure out,
Absolutely. Chille EB is my guest on Next Legacy Radio, and it is, and I'm listening. I hear your journey, and I hear it, I feel it, and it's similar to a lot of us who have tried to pave a way in terms of trying to get the message out. The message is needed, not just the evolution of our kids and leaving a legacy, just to make things more transparent than it could ever be. And I look at, and I'm just going to give you something that I tapped into, doing radio for 14 years, podcast before it became podcast, radio station that I wanted to evolve and have people sharing it, because it is a mission that I feel like, we got to share with like-minded people and let that grow into something and let it evolve into something. So I've had relationships with radio where I would pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. Hate it or love it or hate it, whatever the case may be. I've had those scenarios in my life over the course of 14 years or so. So I'm listening to you, and I want you to share your opinions and your thoughts when I say this, because no matter what's going on and what we do or what social media says we should look at, or how we should be, or how we should look, or whatever the case may be, I refuse, and I'm saying this, Chille, I refuse to let people dictate what the message in my circle should be. So I'm going to just continue to push this to a higher level, and if people get inspired by it, cool. I can have an audience of 1 or an audience of 1 million, and my mission is still going to be the same mission.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so your question, you were asked the question to me. I definitely agree with you, and that's how I feel. Is that I say what I feel is necessary to say. I do feel that my attempt is to say the right thing. I think that I'm mindful about what I say, but I don't believe in censorship, and I do say that. Yeah, no one, I would not let anyone dictate. I mean, it's been tried before that I should change my message. I should not say this. I should say that. Yep. I should do this and I should do that. But as an independent thinker and an independent artist, and, I have my own mindset, from my experiences and my observations, I say what is necessary to be said. And that's what and the truth don't lie. So what I do is I stick to the truth because it's easier to tell the truth and be consistent than it is to be lying and constantly got to change a lie up or being superficial. So I just keep it real simple and just stick to the truth. And my truth is based on my experiences and my observations. And I don't really listen too much of what somebody told me that somebody said. He said this, or they said that. Who are they, and why should I listen to them? I don't know who they are. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find out for myself. That way, I will know, and knowledge is power. So that's kind of where I'm at with that, brother. And I agree with you 100%. And then sometimes the truth hurts, and But then I tell people, sometimes truth hurts, but sometimes it don't hurt that bad. It just stings a little bit. But truth is truth. That's all I've been dropping them is with the truth, and then hopefully encouraging them or causing them to say, I want to see if what Chille is talking about is true. Let me go and do my research and check them sources. Stay off that Facebook. Facebook is not the place. I mean, somebody might say something on Facebook, but I had to debunk so many stories on Facebook that I said, if I got paid a nickel for every story I debunked on Facebook, I could retire. I said, but that's not what I get. That's not what I do. I'm not a professional debunker on Facebook. So I've actually unplugged from Facebook for quite a while now. I haven't really been on. I go on and try to say happy birthday to some people, some loved ones or whatever. But my life, is not really that much around Facebook. Let me tell you what else I've been up to lately, brother. I'm honored and happy to say that I'm trying to put my niece on. I'm not trying. I'm doing it. My niece, she's based in North Carolina. She's a R&B singer, amazing songwriter with an incredible voice. And I just wanted to do a shameless plug on her because I'm so proud of her. Her name is Mahshia, and she dropped the song. We dropped her first song in June, and I think within about 7 weeks, she had amassed more than 150,000 streams on Spotify, some number like that.
Love it.
And it's still doing well. And 2 weeks ago, we dropped her second single. So her first single is called Me First. She flew out to San Francisco. We drove to L.A. We shot a video in L.A., Hollywood Boulevard. The video came out nice. And the song's called Me First. And then 2 weeks ago, we dropped her second single, which is called Different. And she's an amazing songwriter. And so I started out just kind of during this pandemic, since my wings got clipped during the pandemic. I went from traveling 4 or 5 times a month to my last event was February of last year in the UK. Came back from the UK, man, and all my shows going forward just got canceled right from underneath me. Spain, Taiwan, all of them got canceled, which is good because it forced me to spend more time at home and be more with the family and stuff like that. But I also was mentoring my niece, just trying to give her some gems about the industry. Hey, this is what to expect. Don't compromise your integrity. Whatever you do, don't compromise your integrity. That was rule number 1. And I say that to her almost every time. And I tell her to stay humble, be humble. I say that every conversation. If we speak 3 times a day, I tell her that 3 times a day. She's a 20-year-old songwriter. She's much better than even I thought. I knew she was talented, but just listening to the stuff that she's written and the stuff that we released, she's got a special skill. And so she asked me to help her put her stuff out. And then finally she just said, well, why don't you sounds like you're my manager. You're doing stuff that a manager would do. And I said, well, I am. She said, well, why don't you manage me? And I was like, okay. So I've been managing her. So I formed a little management team. Normally I was just managing my own career. I never really managing other artists. I try to connect other artists with people I know and try to help them out. And that's what I'm always trying to flow power to artists, man. That's what we need, some more support, artists supporting artists. And that's something I really believe in. But with her, it's a little bit deeper because it's family. She's my little niece. And so I'm real proud of her, and I wanted you to check it out. When we get off this call, I'm going to send you some links so that you can find her work, man. But that's kind of like my project that I've been doing. And it kind of allows me to wear a different hat than what I'm used to, to be responsible for somebody else's career and not my own, So that's been rewarding for me.
Love it. Chille Bill is my guest on Next Legacy Radio. And, I mean, you mentioned, a couple things that you're doing, not just managing, your own career, you looking out after others and things like that, too. A couple more questions. And one of the questions I have is, like, aside from that, being a influential dad and doing music and doing all the stuff that you're doing right now, what else do you do?
Oh man, well I'm an ex-collegiate athlete, so I think as far as I think I coached basketball. I started out coaching as a volunteer coach for 9 and 10-year-old boys. I was doing that for probably 15 years. I started doing it even before I had kids. I was coaching. I just love the game. The game has been good to me, and I wanted to try to pay it forward and try to teach, inspire these other youngsters and give them the confidence that they need at an earlier age, because I got started as a late bloomer, and I played pretty competitive. But so I started coaching 9 and 10-year-old boys, and then when my son became of age, I threw them out there and the Lions Den and coached them, and then I took a long break in between. And on my travel, this was in 2019, I was on my way to Germany, and on the plane was a gentleman sitting behind me with his family, and he had on a jersey, shirt from one of the local high schools here where I live in East Contra Costa County. So mentioned about it, I was like, oh yeah, that school's right across the street from DVC. Yeah, I know that school. Blah blah blah. And he says, I said, so you a parent there? Were you a teacher? He said, no, I help out the boys basketball. I'm one of the coaches. I'm just a volunteer. I kind of help them out with the. I said, oh man, I miss coaching. He said, oh, you coach? I said, I used to. I said, and I ran a couple of camps, some skills and drills camps for the kids, And he said, you look like you played. I said, I used to play. I used to put it down. I haven't played in a while because I've been touring a lot and stuff. And he said, oh man, he goes, you interested in coaching? I said, I don't know, man, because my schedule's so crazy and I'm so busy that if I coach, I need to be committed 100%. I don't want to be halfway in, halfway out. So He said, well, let me get your number just in case. So he got my number. And about 2 weeks later, I came back from Germany and everything. About 2 weeks later, I get a call from the varsity boys coach. Yeah, we heard you want to work with some of our big men. I said, I would love to. So went out to the school. I was going to work with the freshman boys. That was who I was going to work with. And they had some talented youngsters out there, a couple big boys out there. And I was like, oh, yeah, I could work with these kids, man, and get these kids ready. So on the second day, the athletic director comes up and he says, this is the head varsity basketball coach for the girls. So she has a problem. And I'm like, uh-oh, what's going on now? She said she's coaching. She couldn't find a JV coach. So she's coaching varsity and JV. She's got, I think she had like 25 or 30 girls. And she said that she needs help. And we were hoping that you could take the JV girls, be the head coach. And I was like, I've never coached girls before, but basketball is basketball. They still play on the 10-foot hoop. The rules are still the same pretty much. So but I said, okay, I'll do it. So I started coaching these girls, and they gave me a team of 14-year-old girls. So they were all freshman girls except for one junior. The junior got hurt halfway through the season, so I ended up the whole season with 9 14-year-old girls. And because they didn't have enough girls to make a JV team, they bumped my girls up. Instead of them playing freshmen, they all became the JV team. So I had 14-year-old girls on the JV team playing against other schools that had proper JV teams, girls, and my girls had limited experience. And, we were really rusty. I mean, we were really, really rusty, man. And, we had to work out a lot of kinks, man, but we did. Ended up coming in second place in our conference. We came in second. I think we went 9-2 in the league. And so, the coaching girls was a great experience, and I'm glad I had that opportunity. And then this COVID thing happened, and, we didn't even have a proper season last year. But, yeah, I was coaching, man, just entered into fatherhood again, at this point. So, I got a new one. And I'm just doing that, man, and just surviving and staying safe, staying healthy, as much as possible. There's a lot going on out there with this COVID thing. So, I've just been, following protocol, man, and just encouraging people to do the right thing and to be safe. That's more than anything, is to be safe. Don't really tell people what they should do, get the shot, no, get the shot, this and that. And, everybody's got their own viewpoint and their own reality. And do what's right for you and your family is what I say do. But, And that's kind of where I'm at, man. Is just mainly just staying out of my own way. Staying under the radar, recording here, recording at home, and trying to make that next move for my niece, and trying to make sure that I can guide her the proper way, and just love my family and my friends, man. That's pretty much all I've been up to. Simple lifestyle, man. It's kind of boring. People say, man, Chille be living a boring lifestyle, but that's who I am, and that's what I do, man.
Hey, Chill, you live longer when it's boring, bro. I'm telling you, you live longer, you're more happier. You listen. I would take the boring life any day of the week, man, straight up. So, final question, my friend. What is in your playlist right now? I know you just talked about your niece, so I know you got that heavy on your rotation. So, what's in Chill's playlist right now in 2021?
Oh man, you know what is funny? It's funny, man, is that, with this Alexa, whatever, the little talk box at the house, I'll be on here hollering, Alexa, play 60s doo-wop. So there'll be some 60s doo-wop.
I love it. I'll
go on 60s Motown, 60s pop, 70s pop. Today it was 80s pop. I was listening to 80s pop and reggae today. And, I'm going to be honest with you, and there's no particular reason why, other than I guess it's because that's the genre that I'm in. Hadn't been listening to a lot of the rap stuff as much, and no particular reason why, other than my playlist is very eclectic. I mean, I'm listening to just a lot of stuff that people probably wouldn't expect me to listen to, but I listen to all types of music, and that's kind of what I do, man. Is I float around. For the last couple of days, though, it has been 60s doo-wop, Sam Cooke's, the whole, the old school stuff that my dad and them used to listen to when I was a kid, and just reminisce on that, But it changes. It changes from day to day.
Keep it diverse. It ain't nothing wrong with that, man, at all. At all. So, listen, closing, man, go ahead and give out your shout-outs and tell people where they could find you as well.
Okay, thanks, man. Well, look, I just want to say thank you to all the listeners. Thanks to Charles for having me on, for reaching out to me. Thank you for everybody that's listening. Hey, I'm just saying is be safe, stay healthy, and you can find me on social media on Instagram. It's Chill_EB. Facebook. I think my Facebook is Real Chille B. Facebook.com/RealChilleB. Twitter is Chill_EB. My stuff is streaming on all the music platforms that everybody, where you go listen to music, you can find my stuff on there. YouTube, Chille B. And I really appreciate you, and just tap in, say hi, say what's up. And I'm looking at some collaborations too, man. So I'm always trying to find that collaboration. I mean, I want to do some different kind of collaborations. I mean, back in '94 at the Concord Pavilion, we did this thing called Symphony Under Wraps, where the California Symphony scored 3 of my original songs for my EP, Born Suspicious. They scored 3 of those songs for a full symphony orchestra, and it was off the hook. That was in 1994. That was before any of these other cats was doing rap with symphony. And so I like doing stuff that's outside the box like that. So I'm also looking out for, some other guys that whether they're rock guitarists and they want to do some rap stuff, or, reggae with rap, or doo-wop with rap for that matter. I'm just looking at trying to find something that's different from what I'm used to doing. But I definitely appreciate the opportunity to spend some time. We got to do it again too. I'm definitely got to link up with you again. We got to link up outside of this phone call, but definitely want to be in touch, man. And anything I could do to help make the world a better place, man. Anything I could do to help in the community, that's what I'm down for. That's what I'm down for. And I love the Bay Area, so I love all the Bay Area support too.
Hey, like minds will be able to cultivate and inspire other like minds, and hopefully we can get some others on the team. And in closing, let me tell you this, man. I appreciate you. I sought you out for this reason. Like I said, I got a chance to listen to a little bit of what's going on in your world, and got inspired. That's why I was like, look, hey, let's set something up so we can be able to do this. But deeper than that, You know, I always encourage people to just, you know, I don't like talking about myself that much. I always rather tell people to just look at my actions, you know what I'm saying? Not just see my website and go take a look and see, but just know that there is something that I, you know, giving guy. Always been like that when, you know, since I can remember. So it's always, you know, an opportunity that we can be able to share the wealth in a lot of ways. So that's what I'm here, man. I want to be a vessel. I want to make sure that, you know, people are, you know, a lot of people talk about wealth and money is part of it, but I always believe in having general wealth is a setup so you can be able to just have what you need to have so you can go ahead and go about being your best self under that vehicle. You can be able to do more for others. You know what I mean? So I think this is always an opportunity where we could do that, share that, be a part of that, and grow. That's it, man. That's it. Life is good when you can do that. You know what I mean? So it's easy.
That's
it's
right,
easy
man. That's the joy. That's the joy of life.
Right.
That's the joy of life, man. That's the joy of creating and the joy of giving. You know what I mean? I call it doing good while doing well. You know what I mean?
Right.
And and that's what I think we need more of. We need more mindedness. But you know, it was relayed to me years ago, early in my career, that nothing can stop two or more people working harmoniously for the same common goal. When that was spoken to me, that resonated with me, that stuck with me, and that's something I found to be true. So anytime you need, if I could be of any help or assistance to what you got going on, reach out, brother. I'm a phone call away. You got me, locked me in, and anything I could do to help out in the community, man, that's what we need. We need more help.
And
we need to make the world a better place.
Vice versa. We are close in proximity, so it should be a good look for us to be able to, you know what I'm saying, be and grow and build. You know what I'm saying? So, man, it's an honor and a privilege to have you here. Chille Bill, my guest. Make sure you hit this man on all social media platforms and continue to build that community. And in closing, if you could do me a solid and just say, hey, this is Chille EB, and you are listening to Next Legacy Radio.
Right on.
Thank you for listening to the #1 radio station for the people.